Picture this. You're at a party and there's a buffet spread in front of you. You pile your plate high, eat until you're uncomfortably full, and then feel guilty afterwards. Sound familiar? This scenario is all too common in a world where food is often in abundance and the temptation to overindulge is always around the corner. It's a struggle that many of us face, and it often leads to feelings of guilt and discomfort that can linger long after the meal is over. We indulge in second helpings, we snack mindlessly, we eat out of boredom or stress, and we often ignore the signals our bodies are sending us. We end up overeating, not because we're still hungry, but because the food is there, and it's hard to resist. It's a cycle that can feel hard to break. But what if I told you there's a way to enjoy your food without the guilt and discomfort? Enter mindful eating, a practice that can transform your relationship with food. Now you might be wondering, what exactly is mindful eating? Well, it's a simple yet profound concept. It's about being fully present and engaged during meals. It's about savoring the taste, texture, and aroma of your food and truly appreciating every bite you take. Mindful eating is not a diet or a strict set of eating rules. Rather, it's an approach to food that emphasizes awareness, attention, and respect for your body's needs and responses. It's about listening to your body's hunger and fullness cues and eating in response to these signals, rather than emotional triggers or social cues. Why is this so important? Well, when we eat mindlessly, we often overeat because we're not really paying attention to how much we're consuming or whether we're even hungry. We might eat out of habit because we're bored, stressed, or because everyone else is eating. But when we eat mindfully, we tune into our body's signals and needs, which can help us avoid overeating and enjoy our food more fully. Mindful eating also encourages us to eat without distraction. Often we eat while watching TV, working, or scrolling through our phones. But these distractions can prevent us from truly savoring our food and recognizing when we're full. By eating without distraction, we can focus on our food, enjoy it more, and feel more satisfied after meals. Moreover, mindful eating can enhance our enjoyment of food. When we eat mindfully, we're not just wolfing down our meals. We're taking the time to savor each bite, to appreciate the flavors, textures, and aromas of our food. This can make eating a more enjoyable and fulfilling experience. So, mindful eating can help us overcome overeating, feel more satisfied with our meals, and enhance our enjoyment of food. It's a powerful practice that can transform our relationship with food and help us develop healthier eating habits. But how does one go from mindless munching to mindful eating? Well, stay tuned, because that's exactly what we're going to explore next. Let's be honest, we've all had our battles with food. Food, as much as it is a source of nourishment, can also become a battleground of emotions, habits, and cravings. It's not just about what's on our plates, but also what's going on in our minds and hearts. How many times have we found ourselves reaching for that extra slice of cake? Not because we're hungry, but because it's been a stressful day and we think we deserve a treat. This is emotional eating, a common struggle where we use food as a way to cope with our feelings. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound that needs more than just superficial treatment. It might provide temporary relief, but it doesn't address the root cause of our stress or sadness. Then there's the habit of eating out of boredom. Picture this. You're lounging on the couch, aimlessly scrolling through your phone, and before you know it, you've polished off a whole bag of chips. You weren't really hungry, you were just bored. Our brains are wired to seek stimulation, and sometimes we try to fill the void with food, leading to mindless snacking and overeating. And let's not forget about distractions during meals. With our fast-paced lives, meals often become just another task to be checked off our to-do list. We eat while we work, we eat while we watch TV, we eat while we scroll through social media. In the process, we lose touch with our hunger and fullness cues. We don't savor the flavors of our food, and we end up eating more than we need to. These habits often lead to overeating and an unhealthy relationship with food. We start to see food not as a source of nourishment and enjoyment, but as a source of guilt and anxiety. It feels like we're stuck in a vicious cycle, and it's hard to see a way out. But there was a moment when everything changed for me. I stumbled upon mindful eating techniques, and it was a game changer. You see, there came a time when I was just tired of the constant food guilt, the negative self-talk, and the uncomfortable feeling that came after every meal. I was stuck in a cycle of overeating, and I didn't know how to break free. That's when mindful eating entered my life. It started with a book I picked up on a whim. The book explained the concept of mindful eating, which is essentially the practice of paying full attention to the experience of eating and drinking, both inside and outside the body. It's about noticing the colors, smells, flavors, and textures of your food, about chewing slowly and savoring every bite. At first, I was skeptical. Could something as simple as paying attention really change my troubled relationship with food? But I was desperate for a change, so I gave it a shot. And let me tell you, it was transformative. In the beginning, I struggled to slow down and really pay attention to my food. But as I kept practicing, I found that I was starting to enjoy my meals more. I was tasting flavors I had never noticed before. I was feeling satisfied with less food. And most importantly, I was learning to listen to my body's hunger and fullness cues, rather than eating mindlessly out of habit or emotion. This was the major turning point for me. For the first time in a long time, I was enjoying food without guilt or discomfort. I was eating when I was hungry and stopping when I was full. I was no longer a slave to my cravings. Mindful eating didn't just change my eating habits, it changed my whole perspective on food. It made me realize that food is not the enemy, but a source of nourishment and enjoyment. It taught me that eating is not just about filling up our stomachs, but about nourishing our bodies and minds. Mindful eating was indeed a game changer. It broke the cycle of overeating and brought back the joy of eating. And the best part? Anyone can learn to eat mindfully. It doesn't require any special tools or diets, just a willingness to pay attention and listen to your body. So how can you start practicing mindful eating? It's simpler than you might think. As we delve into the practical tips for mindful eating, you'll see that it's not a complicated process, but rather a shift in perspective and approach. First off, let's talk about the pace of your meals. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to fall into the habit of rushing through meals. But mindful eating asks us to slow down, to take the time to truly experience our food. This doesn't mean you need to chew each bite 20 times, but rather to take a moment to appreciate the flavors, textures, and aromas of your food. This approach not only enhances your dining experience, but also gives your body time to register fullness, which helps to prevent overeating. Next, savoring flavors is a key aspect of mindful eating. Each bite is an opportunity to explore the complex symphony of flavors in your food. By focusing on the taste of your meal, you can derive greater satisfaction from smaller portions. This is a powerful tool in combating overeating and promoting a healthier relationship with food. Now let's talk about hunger cues. Our bodies are incredibly smart, sending us signals when we need to eat and when we've had enough. But often, we ignore these signals or confuse them with other feelings like boredom or stress. Mindful eating involves tuning into these cues, learning to recognize and respond to them appropriately. When you start to feel hungry, ask yourself if it's physical hunger or emotional hunger. Are you actually in need of sustenance, or are you reaching for food to fill an emotional void? And finally, remember that mindful eating is not about perfection. It's a journey of self-discovery and self-improvement. You don't have to get it right every time. What matters is that you're making an effort to be more present and intentional in your eating habits. And just like that, you're on your way to a healthier, more enjoyable relationship with food. Remember, every meal is a new opportunity to practice mindful eating. So, embrace the journey and enjoy the process. So let's recap. We've taken a journey through the complex world of our relationship with food and how overeating can often be a symptom of a deeper struggle. We've discovered that the secret to overcoming this struggle is not in restrictive diets or punishing exercise regimes, but in the power of mindful eating. Mindful eating, as we've learned, is all about being fully present in the eating experience. It's about slowing down, savoring the flavors, and really listening to our bodies. This is not just about controlling our intake, but about enhancing our enjoyment of food. We've shared some practical tips to start practicing mindful eating, from taking the time to truly enjoy each bite, to listening to our hunger and fullness cues. And remember, the goal here isn't to achieve perfection. It's about developing a greater awareness of our eating habits and making small, sustainable improvements that can lead to a healthier, more enjoyable relationship with food. Remember, the goal is not perfection, but awareness and improvement. Now it's your turn. We'd love to hear about your own journey with mindful eating. What challenges have you faced? What victories have you celebrated? Please share your experiences in the comments below. And if you're looking for more practical tips and insights on healthy living, why not check out our other videos? There's a wealth of knowledge waiting for you. Thanks for watching, and remember, food is to be enjoyed, not feared. Happy mindful eating!